There comes a sacred moment in every life when what was lost begins to call your name again. You can feel it, a quiet pull, a whisper from the unseen saying, "It's time." Everything you thought had slipped through your hands. The relationship, the dream, the opportunity, the peace. None of it was ever destroyed. It was simply withdrawn from visibility until you became ready to see it rightly. You have not lost, you've only been prepared. The pause was not punishment, it was purification. The time of weeping was the soil in which your power was reawakened. For reality responds not to your words, but to your inner state. The moment you feel that it's yours again, not hope for it, not plead for it, but assume it has already returned, the unseen begins to rearrange itself in your favor. Every image held in faith becomes a command to creation. Every feeling of restoration is an order to the universe. Return to me what belongs to me. The truth is, nothing that was truly yours can ever be lost. What has divine origin must find its way back to its rightful vessel. You were not meant to live in lack. You were meant to demonstrate resurrection. You will see doors open that you never knocked on. You will find opportunities that seem to recognize your name. You will stand in moments that feel divinely orchestrated because they are. Your part is not to chase, but to choose. Not to worry, but to witness. Not to lament the loss, but to live from the restoration. This, right now, is the sign you've been waiting for. The stirring in your heart is proof that heaven is moving in your direction. The tide is turning. The season of recompense has begun. So lift your head. Speak as one who has already won. What you lost is on its way back multiplied. Pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. You are not waiting on the miracle has been waiting on you. Step into the state of fulfillment and watch as everything that once slipped away begins to return, perfectly, gloriously, and undeniably. Because this, right here, right now, is your confirmation you're about to win back everything you lost. Imagination is the bridge between what was and what will be. Whatever you once held dear, whatever you thought you lost forever, still lives, not in the visible world, but in the unseen realm of consciousness. Every form you've ever known, every relationship, every opportunity, every joy, all were born first from imagination, and to imagination they return when they seem to disappear. Nothing is ever truly gone. It only withdraws from your sight until you are ready to reclaim it through the creative power within you. I speak into your inner life. To imagine is not to fantasize, it is to create deliberately. When you close your eyes and see yourself restored, whole and complete, you are not escaping reality. You are shaping it. You are speaking to the unseen forces that govern form, calling back into expression what was once yours. The mind that dares to imagine itself healed, blessed, and restored commands life to obey. For imagination is the womb of creation, the unseen workshop where lost things are rebuilt in new glory. Many believe that once something is lost, it is gone forever, but that is only because they look at the evidence of the outer world and not the truth of the inner one. Everything visible is temporary. The only constant is consciousness. When you shift your inner state, when you enter again into the feeling of possession, the universe mirrors that conviction. What once seemed lost begins to find its way back to you, drawn by the magnetic pull of your renewed belief. You do not need to chase what left you. You do not need to beg or struggle to replace it. You need only return to the inner vision where it all began. See yourself once more in the place of fulfillment. Feel the satisfaction of already having received it. Let your imagination dwell there until it feels natural, until it becomes more real to you than the appearance of lack. When your inner assumption becomes steady and alive, the outer world must yield to it. Imagination does not simply comfort you, it reorders your reality. What you vividly hold within with faith and feeling must externalize itself in divine timing. The things you thought were gone, the love, the peace, the confidence, the opportunity, are not destroyed. They are simply waiting for your recognition. They are suspended in the unseen, eager to take form again at your command. So, close your eyes and see it. Hear the words you would hear if the restoration were already complete. Feel the gratitude that would overflow from your heart if everything you lost suddenly returned. This is not pretending, it is remembering your true creative nature. What imagination restores cannot be lost again, because it returns to you in truth, not illusion. When you live from this awareness, loss becomes impossible. You realize that all things are held safely within the eternal field of imagination, waiting for your vision to call them home. The loss was never final. Though it may have appeared to be an ending, it was never destruction. Only divine redirection. What seemed like something being taken away was, in truth, the universe making room for something greater. Every disappointment, every closed door, every season of emptiness was a sacred pause in the rhythm of your becoming. Life does not end in loss. It evolves through it. The divine interruption you faced was not a denial of your destiny, but a detour that prepared you for it. When something is removed from your path, it is easy to believe you have failed, that something precious has slipped away forever. Yet if you look deeper, you will see that every loss carved space within you, space for new wisdom, deeper compassion, and greater strength. What left you was never meant to define you. It was meant to refine you. In those moments when everything seemed to crumble, something higher was being built within. The ground had to be cleared so that the roots of your new season could take hold. The divine never closes a chapter without writing a more powerful one next. You may not see the purpose while standing in the ruins, but hindsight always reveals the hidden perfection. The ending was an illusion, a setup for a restoration that exceeds what you had before. The hand that took was the same hand that will return, multiplied and magnified. You were never being punished. You were being positioned. Often what we call loss is simply a shift in dimension. What once existed in visible form now moves into the invisible, waiting to reappear in a new and higher way. The dream that died will rise again, not as it was, but as it was always meant to be. The love that was lost will return through new vessels. The opportunity that vanished will re-emerge with greater reach. Life does not regress, it resurrects. In truth, there is no such thing as an ending for the one who walks in awareness. There are only transformations. The things that left you did not depart, they evolved. You are not the same person who once lost. You are wiser, deeper, and stronger. Therefore, what returns to you will be of greater substance, for it must now match the strength of the soul you have become. So do not mourn the past as though it were gone forever. Instead, give thanks for the divine interruption that saved you from staying too small. Trust that life was not taking from you. It was making way for something far better. The seeming ending was only a doorway disguised as loss, a sacred transition that will lead you into the fullness of restoration. What once broke you will bless you. What once ended will begin again, this time with glory. And when it returns, you will understand why it had to leave. Because the loss was never final. You possess the power to call it back. Nothing is ever truly gone from the one who remembers who they are, a creator clothed in flesh, endowed with the authority to command with faith. The world may tell you that what is lost cannot return, that what has ended cannot be restored, but the laws of spirit say otherwise. All that ever existed still exists, held in the unseen substance of creation, waiting for the moment your faith calls it by name. There is a divine order that responds not to fear or desperation, but to conviction. When you speak from the authority of belief, not merely hoping, but knowing, the universe rearranges itself to fulfill your word. You are not powerless in the face of what you've lost. You are not at the mercy of time or circumstance. You are the vessel through which divine intention manifests, and your faith is the voice that commands creation. Everything that once belonged to you, the opportunities, the peace, the relationships, the dreams, still vibrates within the eternal field of possibility. It cannot disappear because energy cannot be destroyed. It only changes form, waiting for you to realign with it. When you remember your divine right to call it back, you become a living magnet to what seemed gone. You no longer plead with life, you instruct it. You no longer hope for restoration, you embody it. Faith is not passive. It is an active declaration of truth in the face of contradiction. It stands firm when appearances shout impossible and calmly says, it is done. The moment you reclaim that inner certainty, everything that once drifted away begins to orbit back toward you. What was lost must respond, because faith carries creative authority. To call something back is to return to the awareness that you are one with the source that gave it. You do not need to chase or manipulate outcomes. You simply dwell in the consciousness of fulfillment. Feel it. Believe it. See it as done. And creation obeys the command of your inner state. Your words, your feelings, your thoughts are instruments of power. Every time you speak restoration, you activate spiritual law. The universe does not resist the one who knows their authority. It yields. It rushes to deliver what your faith decrees. But that authority must be remembered. It must be awakened from within, because forgetfulness is the only form of loss there is. When you forget your divine identity, you feel powerless. When you remember, you reign. So call it back, not from need, but from knowing. Call back the love, the peace, the prosperity, the joy. Speak it into being as though it were already standing before you, and it will appear. What you command with faith cannot be denied, for your words carry the weight of the eternal. Nothing is ever gone from the one who remembers their authority to create, and what you now remember, you will soon witness. You possess the power to call it back. Nothing is ever truly gone from the one who remembers who they are. A creator clothed in flesh, endowed with the authority to command with faith. The world may tell you that what is lost cannot return, that what has ended cannot be restored, but the laws of spirit say otherwise. All that ever existed still exists, held in the unseen substance of creation, waiting for the moment your faith calls it by name. There is a divine order that responds not to fear or desperation, but to conviction. When you speak from the authority of belief, not merely hoping, but knowing, the universe rearranges itself to fulfill your word. You are not powerless in the face of what you've lost. You are not at the mercy of time or circumstance. You are the vessel through which divine intention manifests, and your faith is the voice that commands creation. Everything that once belonged to you, the opportunities, the peace, the relationships, the dreams, still vibrates within the eternal field of possibility. It cannot disappear because energy cannot be destroyed. It only changes form, waiting for you to realign with it. When you remember your divine right to call it back, you become a living magnet to what seemed gone. You no longer plead with life, you instruct it. You no longer hope for restoration, you embody it. Faith is not passive. It is an active declaration of truths in the face of contradiction. It stands firm when appearances shout impossible and calmly says, "It is done." The moment you reclaim that inner certainty, everything that once drifted away begins to orbit back toward you. What was lost must respond because faith carries creative authority. To call something back is to return to the awareness that you are one with the source that gave it. You do not need to chase or manipulate outcomes. You simply dwell in the consciousness of fulfillment. Feel it, believe it, see it as done, and creation obeys the command of your inner state. Your words, your feelings, your thoughts are instruments of power. Every time you speak restoration, you activate spiritual law. The universe does not resist the one who knows their authority. It yields. It rushes to deliver what your faith decrees. But that authority must be remembered. It must be awakened from within, because forgetfulness is the only form of loss there is. When you forget your divine identity, you feel powerless. When you remember, you reign. So call it back, not from need, but from knowing. Call back the love, the peace, the prosperity, the joy. Speak it into being as though it were already standing before you, and it will appear. What you command with faith cannot be denied, for your words carry the weight of the eternal. Nothing is ever gone from the one who remembers their authority to create. And what you now remember, you will soon witness. Restoration does not come through pursuit. It comes through alignment. What you are seeking is not somewhere outside of you, waiting to be found through striving or effort. It is already complete in the invisible realm, waiting for you to harmonize with it through your inner state. The universe does not respond to desperation or longing. It responds to resonance. When you become inwardly aligned with what you desire, life has no choice but to mirror that state outwardly. Chasing what's missing only affirms its absence. Each time you reach for it in fear or doubt, you declare it is not here. But when you turn inward and dwell in the feeling of already having it, you align yourself with its vibration, and creation must comply. Alignment is not pretending, it is remembering. It is remembering that you are one with the source of everything you've ever lost, and that separation is only an illusion created by fear and forgetting. Inner alignment is the quiet realization that you do not need to make anything happen. You only need to become the version of yourself for whom it is natural to have what you seek. When you feel peace within, peace must manifest around you. When you feel love within, love appears through others. When you feel abundance, opportunities arise effortlessly. The external world simply echoes your internal state. Restoration is a returning not of objects or circumstances, but of awareness. You begin to see that what you thought was lost was never gone. It was simply waiting for you to come back into harmony with it. Every form of lack, whether emotional, financial, or spiritual, is only a reflection of disconnection from your inner wholeness. When you return to that wholeness, what was missing reappears, drawn back to its rightful home. This is why alignment is more powerful than effort. When you chase, you imply separation. When you align, you affirm unity. The moment you rest in the consciousness of having, when your emotions, thoughts, and faith move in the same direction, the law of life responds with precision. Restoration begins not when things change, but when you change your inner position from lack to completion. To align is to live as though the promise were already fulfilled. It is to speak as though it were done, to think from the reality you desire instead of toward it. It is to dwell in gratitude, to carry yourself with the confidence of one who knows restoration is inevitable, and as you do, the outer world, obedient to your inner law, reshapes itself to match your conviction. You do not chase what's missing. You become one with it within, and it must return without. That is the secret of restoration, the shift from seeking to being, from hoping to knowing, from waiting to embodying. When the inner alignment is complete, the outer reflection cannot delay. What belongs to you will find you again, effortlessly, because you have remembered who you are, the one in whom nothing is ever truly lost. This is your confirmation, the stirring you feel within, that quiet hope rising again after the storm, that gentle whisper saying, maybe it's not over yet, is not wishful thinking. It is the sign that divine movement has begun on your behalf. You are standing at the threshold of recompense, at the edge of restoration, and your heart knows it before your eyes can see it. That spark of faith awakening in you is not random. It is the signal that heaven has already set things in motion. When faith begins to return, it is proof that the unseen is already working. You may not see the full picture yet, but the energy of completion has been released. Every time you feel that sudden peace in the middle of your worry, every time you sense that quiet confidence whispering, it's coming back, you are receiving divine confirmation. Life speaks to you through intuition, through inner knowing, through that gentle shift from fear to trust. This is the universe's way of saying, the wait is over. Prepare for restoration. You have endured the breaking, the silence, the emptiness, but those days were never wasted. They prepared you to recognize the difference between illusion and truth, between desire and destiny. Now, because of that journey, your faith carries weight. It is no longer the fragile faith of hope. It is the steady assurance born of experience. That's why this moment feels different. You've been through enough to know when something real is unfolding, and this time it is. Divine recompense means more than receiving back what was lost. It means receiving it transformed, elevated, and multiplied. The loss was a seed, and now it is blooming in ways your mind could not have imagined. The stirring of faith you feel is the echo of what is already done in the unseen. You are not waiting for the miracle to begin. It has already begun, and your awareness of it is the first sign of its manifestation. Do not doubt this quiet certainty just because it feels gentle. The greatest moves of God often come not with noise, but with knowing. The same way dawn announces itself before the light fully fills the sky, faith announces your restoration before it becomes visible. The moment you feel that deep inner assurance, understand that you've crossed from waiting to receiving. The unseen has already said yes. You are standing at the doorway of divine compensation, the season where everything that once broke you becomes the foundation of your blessing. The stirring in your spirit is your confirmation that nothing was lost in vain. The very faith rising within you is both the evidence and the promise. So trust what you feel. Lean into it. Let gratitude become your declaration. This is not the beginning of hope. It is the beginning of fulfillment. The stirring of faith is your sign. You're standing at the threshold of divine recompense, and everything you've been waiting for is now on its way back to you. Every ending in your life was never a loss. It was preparation for restoration. Every delay, every heartbreak, every season of silence was the divine hand sculpting you into the vessel capable of carrying greater blessings. You were never forsaken. You were being fortified. What seemed to fall apart was secretly falling into place. The unseen world has been working tirelessly to realign what belongs to you, and now everything is turning in your favor. You are no longer the same person who once wept over what was lost. You have grown in wisdom, in faith, in inner authority. You now understand that true restoration begins not in the outer world, but within. In the mind that believes again, in the heart that feels again, in the spirit that remembers its creative power. The time of wandering is over. The time of receiving has begun. So stand tall in the awareness that what is meant for you can never be lost. Feel the truth that all things are returning to their divine order. Let peace settle into your heart as you realize that you are not waiting for the promise. You are living in it. The restoration you once prayed for is already unfolding. Everything that drifted away is making its way back, multiplied, refined, and perfectly aligned with who you have become. This is your season of recompense. This is your time to witness the beauty of divine timing and the faithfulness of unseen power. You are about to hold in your hands the very proof of what your soul always knew. Nothing truly leaves the one who lives in faith. So lift your head. Give thanks in advance. Celebrate before you see it, because it is already yours in the realm that matters most. The evidence is coming, the doors are opening, and your heart will soon testify you have won back everything you lost. Thank you for listening. May this message awaken the remembrance of your power, strengthen your faith, and remind you that restoration is not coming, it has already begun. There comes a moment in every life when the air changes, not around you, but within you. A quiet certainty rises, a whisper that says, you're close, closer than you've ever been. And at first, you try to reason with it. You try to explain it away, but the whisper doesn't leave. It grows, it settles. It begins to feel like truth. What you are feeling right now is not random. It is not wishful thinking, nor is it coincidence. It is the inner recognition of something your outer world has not yet caught up with. You are standing at the edge of a shift, a big, beautiful shift, designed entirely in your favor. You see, nothing approaches your life until you first approach it in imagination. Everything that shows up outside begins as a movement inside. The desire, the idea, the feeling of expectancy, these are not signs of lack. These are signs of imminence. These are signs that the unseen has ripened and reality is bending toward fulfillment. Many people mistake this season. They call it waiting. They call it delay. They call it confusion. But you must not. What feels like nothing is happening is actually everything happening, just not yet in the dimension of sight. You are in the hallway before the door opens, and the hallway is always the quietest place. But the quiet is not emptiness. It is preparation. When you sense that something big is near, it is because your inner world has already completed the shift. The outer world must now follow the blueprint you have accepted. Don't let your senses deceive you. Don't let time intimidate you. Don't let contradictions weaken you. The truth is simple. You are closer than you think and much closer than you fear. Hold your inner conversation steady. Speak as the one who already has it. Act as the one who already knows. Move as the one who is already chosen. The more firmly you embody the end, the faster life rushes to meet you at that level of assumption. Nothing is working against you. Nothing has been denied. Nothing has been delayed. Every step, even the confusing ones, have been guiding you toward this moment. The pieces are aligning. The path is clearing. The unseen is crystallizing. You are on the brink of something that will not only lift you, it will confirm everything you've believed in silence. You're not just close. You're so close that your life can change with a single inner shift, a single acceptance of the truth that what you want wants you, and it is on its way with a precision that will surprise you. So breathe, stand tall, stay faithful to the feeling. The big, the beautiful, the extraordinary, it's not far. It's here, pressing against the edges of your reality, waiting for the final yes from within you. And when it arrives, as it surely will, you will look back and realize that the moment you thought you were waiting, you were actually receiving. You're so close, closer than ever, and it's all in your favor. Your desire is the prophecy of what is coming, because desire is not born from the outside world. It rises from within you as a signal of something that already belongs to you in the unseen realm. People often mistake desire for lack, imagining it is a reminder of what they do not yet have. But in truth, desire is the evidence of what is already yours in potential. It is the inner announcement that something has been prepared for you, and your awareness is simply catching up to it. Every longing that stirs in you, every dream that refuses to fade, every vision that returns again and again is not random. It is memory. It is recognition. It is your deeper self reminding you of what you are destined to experience. But when you feel a desire intensely, you are not imagining something new. You are remembering something true. Life does not plant longings in your heart as a form of punishment or frustration. It plants them as indicators. The moment you desire something, you have touched the spiritual prototype of that thing. You have made contact with the version of yourself who already has it. That's why certain dreams pull you so strongly. They are calling you toward a reality that is already established within your consciousness. Your desire is the bridge between where you stand physically and where you already exist spiritually. It is not a hint of possibility, but a guarantee of direction. If you look closely at your life, you will notice that every major shift, every breakthrough, every blessing you ever received began as a simple inner stirring. Long before the outer world changed, something shifted within you. A thought became louder, a feeling became undeniable. A picture of a better life formed in your imagination and refused to leave you alone. That inner experience was not random activity of the mind. It was the first stage of manifestation, the first sign that what you wanted was already active within the deeper layers of your being. The desire did not appear to tease you, it appeared to guide you. When you understand desire as prophecy, you stop fearing it and start trusting it. You no longer ask, will this happen? Instead, you ask, how fully can I accept that it is already mine? You become less concerned with timing and more concerned with alignment. You stop chasing and start allowing. The moment you embrace desire as something that has already occurred internally, your energy changes. You stop approaching your dreams from a place of emptiness and begin approaching them from a place of truth. You become the one who already possesses the end result in imagination, and life must respond accordingly. The desire you feel is not the beginning, it is the echo of the end. It is the quiet whisper from your future self saying, I'm already here, just align with me. Everything you truly desire exists as a reality within you long before it materializes around you. When you honor that knowing, when you live from that inner completion rather than outer absence, you step into a life where what you seek naturally seeks you. Your desire is the prophecy, and your faith in it is the path. This life rearranges itself the moment you hold a new inner assumption with conviction, because your world is always responding to the state of consciousness you occupy. Everything you experience is filtered through the lens of what you believe to be true about yourself, your possibilities, and your life. When that inner belief shifts even slightly, the world around you begins to reorganize itself so it can match the new state you have accepted. This rearrangement doesn't always look dramatic in the beginning. Sometimes it begins as the softest change, the way people speak to you, the opportunities that suddenly open, the ideas that surface effortlessly, or the clarity that rises from within. But the moment you adopt a new assumption and hold it with unwavering certainty, you set in motion a cascade of events that must realign with your new inner truth. What most people don't realize is that the world they see outside is simply an echo of their inner world. If your assumptions are small, limited, or rooted in fear, life echoes those assumptions back to you through limitations, delays, and frustrations. But if your assumptions are expansive, grounded in confidence and expectation, then life has no choice but to echo expansion. It is not a matter of forcing things to happen. It is a matter of knowing who you are being internally. The universe mirrors your identity, not your wishes. It reflects your state, not your effort. And a state is nothing more than an assumption you have chosen to accept as true the moment you fully believe something new about yourself. truly believe it, not merely hope for it. You shift your internal frequency. You stop thinking from the old version of yourself and begin thinking from the new one. Your reactions change, your language changes, your emotional tone changes. You no longer respond to life as someone who is waiting, you respond as someone who already possesses the result. This shift is powerful because the outer world must conform to your inner identity. If you see yourself as worthy, circumstances rise to match that worth. If you assume success is natural for you, success begins seeking you. If you assume things are working out in your favor, suddenly everything starts aligning with that conviction. Conviction is the key. A weak assumption creates only weak ripples. A fearful assumption creates contradictions. But a firm, calm, inwardly accepted assumption becomes law in your reality. Conviction is not noise or intensity. It is stillness. It is the quiet certainty of someone who knows the end has already been reached within. When you dwell in that certainty, you are no longer trying to make anything happen. You are allowing the outer world to adjust to the blueprint you already completed in imagination. Life rearranges itself because life is not fixed, it is fluid. It bends around your consciousness, it reshapes itself around your identity. When you step into a new assumption and remain faithful to it, people shift, paths appear, obstacles dissolve, and timing synchronizes. You may not see the rearrangement instantly, but the moment the assumption is planted with conviction, the process begins. The world you knew starts to dissolve, and the world you have claimed begins to form. Everything on the outside must comply with the truth you have accepted within. What you call delay is only the unseen preparation of something bigger than you imagined, because life is always working behind the scenes in ways your senses cannot yet perceive. When something you deeply desire appears to be taking longer than you hoped, it is not because life has denied it or forgotten you. It is because the invisible elements, the conditions, the connections, the timing, and the alignment required for the most complete version of your blessing are still being arranged. Delay is never stagnation. Delay is construction. It is the deliberate assembling of something that will not only meet your expectations, but exceed them in ways you could not have scripted. Most people mistake silence for absence. They assume that because they cannot see movement, nothing is happening. But the greatest transformations occur in the hidden layers of life. Just as seeds grow roots before they rise above the soil, during that unseen stage it may appear as if nothing is happening, but in truth, everything is happening. Strength is being formed, foundations are being set, opportunities are being shaped. The invisible groundwork is being laid so that when the visible blessing emerges, it stands strong and lasts. You must remember that life is not in the business of giving you small, fragile versions of your dreams. When something seems delayed, it is often because what you are being prepared for is larger, more expansive, more aligned, and more complete than you initially thought. Sometimes the delay is not about the blessing itself, but about you becoming the version of yourself capable of holding it. The delay refines your belief, strengthens your inner world, and sharpens your vision. It dissolves the doubts that would have sabotaged your results. It shapes your character so you can receive what is coming without fear and carry it without collapse. There are seasons when the thing you want is ready, but you are not yet aligned with it. And there are seasons when you are ready, but the elements around you need more time to synchronize. Either way, nothing is being withheld from you. Nothing is being taken from you. The timing is simply being perfected. What feels like waiting is often life arranging the most ideal path. People you haven't met yet, places you haven't discovered, opportunities that need just a little more time to unfold. Delay is not a punishment, it is protection. It shields you from premature manifestations that would have disappointed you. It steers you away from lesser versions that would have limited you. It ensures that when your blessing arrives, it fits, it supports, it elevates, and it endures. If you could see what is being prepared for you, you would never complain about the timing again. You would wait with gratitude. You would trust the quiet seasons. You would understand that life is not delaying you. It is orchestrating something far more beautiful than your mind first conceived. The unseen preparation is happening right now. The bigger, brighter, more aligned version of your desire is forming. And when it arrives, you will realize the delay was not a delay at all. It was divine preparation. Your inner conversations sculpt the path for the blessing that is already moving toward you, because the dialogue you hold within yourself is the blueprint from which your external life is built. Every moment of the day, you are engaged in silent conversations, imagining outcomes, rehearsing possibilities, predicting scenarios, and assigning meaning to events. These internal dialogues are not harmless whispers in your mind, they are creative acts. They shape the state you live in, and the state you live in determines the experiences you attract. Before any blessing arrives, you have spoken it into form through the tone and content of your inner speech. Most people underestimate the power of these private dialogues. They think only their actions matter, or that their spoken words are what shape their world. But the deeper truth is that the most influential voice in your life is the one no one else hears. It is the voice that interprets every situation, responds to every challenge, and narrates every moment. When that inner voice is aligned with your desired outcome, when it speaks confidently, lovingly, and expectantly, it clears the path for your blessings to reach you. It removes resistance. It creates openings. It generates clarity. It magnetizes the opportunities that match the inner state you consistently inhabit. The blessing that is coming toward you is not random. It has been summoned by your inner dialogue long before it becomes visible. When you imagine conversations where you are confident, chosen, valued, or successful, you are not indulging in fantasies. You are aligning yourself with the frequency of the blessing. You are preparing the path by becoming the version of yourself who naturally receives it. Every time you speak to yourself as someone capable, worthy, and already victorious, you are shaping the future in your favor. But the same principle works in the opposite direction. Doubtful conversations create detours. Fearful conversations create delays. Conversations rooted in anxiety, unworthiness, or pessimism blur the path and make you feel as if your blessing is far away, when in truth it is your inner voice pushing it away. Your blessings are not resisting you. You are resisting them with inner speech that contradicts what you want. The moment your inner conversations shift, the moment you begin speaking from the assumption that what you desire is already on its way, the road straightens. The blessing moves faster. Life aligns more easily. Your inner conversations are not just commentary, they are commands. They instruct your subconscious mind on what to create. They signal to life what you expect. They shape the way you behave, the choices you make, and the opportunities you recognize. When you speak inwardly as the person who already possesses the blessing, you begin to navigate the world differently. You walk with certainty. You interpret experiences with clarity. You respond to challenges with strength. You no longer seek signs, you become the sign. The blessing is already moving toward you, but it follows the path your inner voice lays down. When your inner conversations reflect the end you desire, life has no choice but to match them. The more faithfully you speak from fulfillment, the more easily fulfillment finds you. Your inner voice is the architect, and your blessing is simply following the design you have already created within. The feeling of almost is not disappointment. It is a signal that the invisible has matured, because every manifestation ripens internally before it expresses itself outwardly. When you sense that something is near, when you feel that subtle shift inside you that whispers, "It's close," you are recognizing the movement of a reality that has already formed in the unseen. This feeling is not a sign of lack. It is a confirmation of alignment. It is the moment when your inner and outer worlds begin to synchronize, when your inner state has become so consistent, so stable, and so aligned that the external world must now adjust to reflect it. The sensation of being almost there is the vibration of your desire pressing against the threshold of visibility. Many people misinterpret this feeling. They think something is missing, or they fear that they are still far from their goal. They sense the tension of transition and believe it signals delay or disappointment. But this feeling is the opposite. It is a spiritual indicator that you have reached the final stage of inner completion. Just as a seed must sprout beneath the soil long before it breaks the surface, your desire grows roots in the invisible realm before it becomes tangible. When those roots are fully formed, when the inner work is complete, you feel the nearness. You feel the shift. You feel the anticipation that cannot be explained logically. That sensation is the inner world announcing the time is near. The feeling of almost also reveals that you have begun to detach from the old state. You no longer identify with the version of yourself who lacked the thing you want. You have mentally moved into the new reality, even if the physical evidence hasn't yet appeared. Your imagination feels natural and familiar. Your assumption feels steady. Your inner conversations have changed tone. This internal transformation is the true manifestation, and the external world is simply catching up. The invisible has matured into a stable state of consciousness, and once it matures, expression becomes inevitable. The tension you sometimes feel during the almost stage is not a sign of distance. It is the friction created by old and new realities shifting places. The old reality begins dissolving. The new reality begins emerging. It is like the moment before dawn, when darkness is at its thinnest and the light is seconds away from breaking through. If you mistake that moment for prolonged night, you miss the truth that morning is already here, just not yet visible to your eyes. When you embrace the feeling of almost as a signal of maturity, you stop worrying and start expecting. You stop questioning and start accepting. You stop chasing and start receiving. You understand that the invisible has already completed the work and that the physical world must now reveal what has been fully formed within you. Instead of frustration, you feel gratitude. Instead of impatience, you feel peaceful anticipation. Instead of fear, you feel certainty. The feeling of almost is one of the strongest spiritual confirmations you will ever experience. It means the unseen has solidified. The inner state has crystallized. The blueprint is complete. And the outer world is rearranging itself to deliver what is already done within you. Your only task is to remain faithful, calm, and open, because the invisible has matured, and manifestation is no longer a matter of if, but when. You are standing on the threshold of a shift that your imagination completed long before your senses noticed, because every transformation begins in the unseen dimension of your inner world. Long before life presents you with visible evidence of change, your imagination has already crafted the new state, rehearsed it, lived in it, and accepted it as truth. Your senses are always the last to know. They only confirm what your consciousness has already established. When you feel that subtle, powerful recognition that something in your life is about to shift, it is because your inner reality has already made the transition. You are simply waiting for the physical world to catch up. Your imagination is not a place of fantasy. It is a place of creation. It is the workshop where you shape your identity, refine your desires, and inhabit the version of yourself who already has what you seek. When you consistently imagine a new future, a different outcome, or a higher version of yourself, you are not daydreaming, you are shifting states, you are moving from one level of consciousness to another. Once that inner shift becomes natural, once you no longer have to force the thought or rehearse the feeling, the new state becomes your home. That is when you stand on the threshold of physical change. The moment you accept something is true, in imagination, your world begins rearranging itself accordingly. You may not see the rearrangement immediately because the senses operate on a delay. Just as light from distant stars reaches your eyes years after it was formed, the outer world often reveals your inner changes long after they were created. But the shift has already taken place. Your imagination finished the work long ago. The evidence simply hasn't arrived yet. Standing on the threshold means you are in a space where your old reality is dissolving and the new one is forming. You may feel moments of tension or uncertainty during this period, but that tension is not resistance, it is transition. You are stepping out of the identity that once limited you and stepping into the version of yourself that aligns with what you desire. Your thoughts feel different, your reactions shift, your expectations rise. You sense the difference even before anything outside of you confirms it. This is the power of inner transformation. The outer world cannot resist a change that has become permanent within you. As you stand in this in-between space, it is important to understand that nothing is wrong. You are not stuck. You are not waiting in the ordinary sense. You are simply observing the final moments of your old state while your new reality prepares to emerge. The shift feels subtle, almost quiet, because the deepest changes rarely announce themselves loudly. But you feel it, an internal certainty, a recognition that you have already crossed into a new chapter. Your imagination always completes the journey before your senses take the first step. When you feel the shift within, when you know something has changed even though nothing outward seems different, trust that inner knowing. Trust the state you have already occupied. Trust the reality you have already lived in your mind. You are standing on the threshold of what is already yours. The moment your senses catch up, you will look back and realize that the change began long before you ever saw it. Everything you desire, everything you have been reaching toward, is already unfolding in ways your eyes cannot yet perceive. The shift has begun within you. and the outer world is aligning to reflect that inner completion. You are not waiting for your breakthrough, it is waiting for you to fully recognize that you are ready. The whispers of expectancy, the sense of nearness, the quiet confidence rising inside you, these are not accidents, they are confirmations. They are signs that the invisible has matured, that the blueprint is complete, and that life is preparing to reveal what has already been finished in your imagination. Walk forward now with calm conviction. Honor the inner work you've done. Trust the timing that is guiding you. Stand firmly in the awareness that you are closer than ever to the big, beautiful shift designed entirely in your favor. Your life is not moving slowly, it is moving precisely, and everything meant for you is arriving with perfect accuracy. Thank you for listening, for believing, and for giving yourself permission to step into the life that has always been waiting for you. Thank you. There comes a moment in every soul's journey when life whispers, prepare yourself. Everything is about to change. That whisper is not a warning, it's a call, a divine reminder that the world you see is not fixed. It bends, it moves, it reshapes itself according to the pattern of your inner conviction. You've prayed, you've waited, you've wondered when your breakthrough would arrive. But hear this truth. The breakthrough doesn't come to you. It comes through you. Every image you've held in your imagination, every feeling of fulfillment you've dared to touch in silence, it's not fantasy. It's creation. The invisible world of thought is where the visible world begins. You don't wait for change, you embody it. You don't hope for transformation, you become it. Your task is simple. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and see yourself already there. Not as a dream, but as a memory you're reliving. The moment you feel it real, life begins to rearrange itself to mirror that state. Stop looking for signs. You are the sign. Stop waiting for permission. You are the authority. Stop wondering when it will happen. It is happening. Now. Every delay you perceive is only your mind's resistance to what's already done in the unseen. The instant you surrender the old self, the one bound by limitation and fear, the new reality rushes in. To be ready to receive is to live as though you've already received. It is to wake up grateful, to walk in confidence, to speak with certainty, not because you see the evidence, but because you know the truth. The universe does not respond to need, it responds to belief. And your belief, when felt deeply and consistently, is law. So today, make a sacred decision. I am no longer waiting for my new life. I am living it now. Feel that truth in your heart, carry it in your silence, and watch quietly, effortlessly, as life unfolds to match the frequency of your conviction. Your life is about to change forever. Be ready, not by doing more, but by being more. Be the vibration of what you desire. Be the living proof that faith is power. Because the moment you accept it, the moment you feel it real, the change is already done. Life never truly changes from the outside first. What you see around you, the people, the events, the so-called coincidences, are only reflections of what's happening within you. Most people spend their lives chasing external change, believing that once the job appears, once the relationship improves, once the money arrives, they will finally feel complete. But that's not how transformation works. The outer world is not the cause, it is the effect. Real change begins when your inner world begins to move. Everything you experience is an echo of your inner assumptions, your beliefs, and the feelings you've come to accept as truth. If you wake up believing that life is a struggle, life will mirror that back to you. You will meet resistance, delays, and obstacles that seem to confirm that belief. But the moment you change your inner state, when you begin to feel that life supports you, that everything is working in your favor, the reflection shifts. You start encountering opportunities where before there were closed doors. People begin to show up to help you. Solutions appear effortlessly. Nothing around you has truly changed. You have changed, and the world has followed your lead. This is the great secret of creation. The world does not respond to effort, it responds to vibration. You cannot fight against circumstances to make them change. You must first assume a new feeling within yourself. The state you occupy internally becomes the magnet that draws experiences of a similar nature. The one who feels poor, even with money in hand, will continue to find loss. The one who feels wealthy, even without visible evidence, will eventually attract abundance. Whatever feels you feel, the invisible always precedes the visible. So when you say you want your life to change, understand what you are truly asking for. You are asking for an inner renewal, for a shift in consciousness. This doesn't come from reading more books, working harder, or forcing results. It comes from quiet moments of recognition, from daring to feel something different, even when nothing outside gives you reason to. It is an act of faith, a surrender to the unseen truth that your imagination creates reality. If you can hold the feeling of peace in the midst of chaos, peace will become your new normal. If you can see yourself as blessed even when the world calls you broken, life will reorganize itself to confirm that blessing. The change begins in the silence of your mind, in the invisible realm of thought and emotion. That's where the real work happens, where your future is formed before your eyes ever see it. So stop waiting for the world to shift before you do. The outer world is your mirror, not your master. When you decide to inhabit a new state of being, to think, feel, and act as the person you wish to become, the world has no choice but to reflect that decision. The power has always been within you. The moment you claim it, your reality begins to change. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the creator of it. The life you live at this very moment is a mirror reflecting what you have believed, assumed, and accepted as true about yourself and the world. Everything unfolding around you, every relationship, opportunity, challenge, and success is an outpicturing of your inner state. It is not the world that determines who you are, it is who you are within that determines the world you experience. When you truly grasp this, you move from being a passive observer to a conscious creator. The mistake most people make is believing that life happens to them, that they are at the mercy of fate, luck, or the choices of others. They wait for the world to change before they can feel happy, safe, or powerful. But the truth is reversed. The world is a projection of your inner convictions, your assumptions, those deep, often unnoticed beliefs shape the events of your life with perfect precision. When you assume you are unloved, you'll find evidence of rejection. When you assume life is difficult, you'll meet constant struggle. But when you assume that you are favored, guided, and supported, life rearranges itself to prove that assumption true. This understanding is not about blame, it is about power. To know you are the cause means you hold the creative authority of your experience. You can change your outer world by changing your inner dialogue. The moment you begin to think differently about yourself, life begins to reorganize to reflect that new image. You cannot experience what you have not first conceived within. The entire universe is obedient to the feeling of reality that you sustain in consciousness. Think of your mind as a garden. Whatever you plant will grow. If you sow seeds of fear, worry, and lack, you cannot expect to harvest peace, confidence, or abundance. Yet most people plant weeds with their thoughts and wonder why their lives are overrun with struggle. The gardener who understands this law doesn't fight the weeds. He simply plants new seeds. In the same way, when you understand that you are the cause, you stop fighting your outer circumstances. You begin cultivating new inner beliefs. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What within me has created this, and how can I transform it?" Once you take ownership of your creative power, you become free. You no longer depend on others to validate you. You no longer wait for opportunities. You attract them. You no longer react to the world. You command it through the authority of your inner state. The world cannot resist a person who knows their own creative power, because that person is aligned with the same energy that created everything. So take a moment to look around at your life, not with judgment, but with awareness. See it for what it is, a reflection of the assumptions you have entertained. Then dare to assume something greater. Dare to believe that you are already the person you wish to become. The moment you accept that truth, the mirror of your world will begin to change. You are not the effect of life. You are its cause. To live in the end means to occupy, within your imagination and emotions, the state of already having what you desire. It is not about hoping, wishing, or waiting for something to happen. It is about knowing that it has already happened in the unseen realm of consciousness. Everything you could ever want already exists in potential form, waiting for you to claim it through feeling. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, between thought and manifestation. Most people live in the state of wanting. They think constantly about what they lack, about how far away their dream seems, or how impossible it feels. But to live in desire is to remain separated from its fulfillment. Wanting something acknowledges its absence. The true key is to shift your awareness from wanting to having. When you begin to feel the joy, gratitude, and satisfaction of already being who you wish to be, or already possessing what you wish to have, you activate the law of assumption, the creative power that shapes reality according to your inner feeling. This inner shift doesn't require external proof. In fact, it often happens long before any physical evidence appears. When you live in the end, you no longer look to the outer world to confirm your new state. You rest in the certainty that what you've imagined is already real. You understand that the outer world is simply delayed reflection. You may not yet see the results with your eyes, but you feel them as true, and that feeling is what sets creation in motion. Imagine a person who desires abundance. They could either continue to dwell in thoughts of lack, constantly checking their bank account, worrying about bills, and affirming that they don't have enough, or they could assume the inner state of someone who is already prosperous. The prosperous person doesn't worry about money. They feel secure, generous, and grateful. The moment you adopt those feelings sincerely, you shift timelines. Life begins to mirror your new inner reality. Unexpected opportunities appear, ideas flow, and synchronicities align. Living in the end requires discipline of mind. It means refusing to be swayed by appearances that contradict your desire. It means holding faith in the unseen until it becomes seen. You do not force the outer world to change. You become the version of yourself for whom the desire is already fulfilled. This version of you thinks differently, feels differently, and acts differently. Not out of pretense, but out of truth. When you live from the end, you are no longer chasing your dream. You are embodying it. You walk, speak, and breathe as though it's already done. You express gratitude for something your senses can't yet perceive, because you understand that consciousness is the only reality, and once you've claimed it within, it must appear without. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is not fantasy. It is the seed of transformation. Plant it deeply in the soil of your imagination, nurture it with faith and gratitude, and life will unfold in divine timing to reveal what has already been completed within you. The end is not a place you reach. It's a state you choose to live in now. Detachment is one of the highest expressions of faith. It is the quiet confidence that what you have imagined and claimed within yourself must come to pass, even if you have no idea how or when it will happen. Most people delay their manifestations not because they lack desire, but because they cling to the process. They try to control every detail, question every delay, and doubt every silence. But the act of creation is not one of struggle. It is one of surrender. You cannot receive what you are still grasping for. True power comes from letting go. To detach is not to stop caring about your desire. It is to stop worrying about it. It is to rest in the knowing that it is already done in the unseen. When you release your attachment to outcomes, you declare that you trust the intelligence of the universe more than your limited understanding. You recognize that the same power that moves the stars and keeps your heart beating knows exactly how to orchestrate your fulfillment. You don't need to figure out the details. Your only task is to remain faithful to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The need to control how and when arises from fear, the fear that if you don't interfere, nothing will happen. But fear is the opposite of faith. The more you try to force creation, the more you signal to the universe that you do not believe it is already yours. The moment you let go of the struggle, the energy that was once trapped in anxiety becomes available for manifestation. What you release emotionally, life returns physically. Detachment is not passivity, it is inner stillness. It means you've shifted from striving to allowing. You continue to act in the world, but now from inspiration, not desperation. You follow the intuitive nudges that arise naturally instead of forcing action out of fear or impatience. When you detach, you no longer chase what you desire, you magnetize it. You no longer seek signs, you become the sign. You walk with quiet assurance, knowing that what belongs to you cannot be taken, and what is not meant for you will quietly fade away. Think of a seed planted in the ground. Once you bury it, you don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You trust the process. You water it, you nurture it, and you allow nature to do the rest. That is what detachment looks like in consciousness. Once you have imagined your desire, felt it real, and claimed it as yours, your job is complete. The rest is divine timing. To detach is to free yourself from anxiety and to step into the flow of creation. It is a declaration that your faith is stronger than your doubt. When you live in that knowing, you find peace even before the manifestation appears, and in that peace, everything begins to unfold effortlessly. The paradox is simple. When you stop needing it, it comes. When you release control, you gain power. When you trust completely, the universe rushes to meet you. What is truly yours cannot be missed. Preparation is not about waiting, it is about aligning. When you truly believe that something you've desired is already yours in spirit, your entire being begins to shift into harmony with that reality. You prepare, not because you doubt, but because you know. You make space for what you've asked for. You act in accordance with it, and you think and feel as the person who already has it. That inner readiness is what opens the door to manifestation. It is the invisible signal that tells the universe, I am ready to receive. Faith is not a passive state of hope, it is active alignment. Many people say they believe, but their actions, words, and emotions contradict their belief. They pray for abundance, yet speak of lack. Imagine success, but behave as though failure is inevitable. True faith is preparation. It is the willingness to live as if your desire were already fulfilled. When you know a guest is coming, you set the table. You don't wait for them to arrive before preparing the meal. Likewise, when you know your manifestation is on its way, you begin to behave as though it is already here. Being ready to receive is a matter of vibration. Your thoughts and emotions emit a frequency that draws matching experiences into your life. If you hold the vibration of doubt or impatience, you block what is already yours. But when you prepare emotionally, mentally, spiritually, you lift yourself into the frequency of fulfillment. You stop pleading with life and start cooperating with it. You move from asking to allowing. Preparation also means letting go of what no longer fits the new version of yourself. To receive the new, you must release the old. You cannot step into abundance while clinging to the identity of scarcity. You cannot experience love while holding on to stories of rejection. Aligning your mind, emotions, and actions means thinking, feeling, and behaving in ways that match the state you've already claimed in spirit. That is faith in motion. You might not yet see the physical evidence of what you've imagined, but your preparation becomes the proof of your belief. When you act as if your desire is already real, you send a message to the subconscious mind that it is real. The subconscious, in turn, begins to rearrange circumstances to match that inner conviction. Life responds to readiness. Imagine someone who has prayed for a new opportunity. Instead of waiting for it to fall into their lap, they begin preparing. They polish their skills, refine their mindset, and organize their life to accommodate success. This preparation is not forced, it flows naturally from belief. They don't prepare because they hope it might happen. They prepare because they know it will. That knowing becomes magnetic. Faith is preparation without proof. It is the quiet assurance that what you've claimed in spirit must reveal itself in form. Every time you align your thoughts with certainty, your emotions with gratitude, and your actions with confidence, you declare that you are ready. And when readiness meets divine timing, manifestation is inevitable. Change does not take time, It takes acceptance. The instant you accept a new reality within yourself, everything around you begins to reorganize to match that acceptance. The universe is not waiting for the clock to move. It is waiting for your consciousness to move. Time is only the measure of how long it takes you to believe. The transformation you seek is not delayed by circumstance. It is delayed by resistance. The moment you surrender that resistance and fully accept your desire as already accomplished, the shift happens. Silently, immediately, and inevitably. Most people believe that change is a gradual process, that they must struggle, wait, or prove themselves worthy before their lives can improve. But that is only an illusion created by the mind. The truth is that your outer world changes at the speed of your inner conviction. The instant you accept something as real within, you have planted the seed of that reality, and it begins unfolding naturally in your experience. The delay you perceive is not in the creation, it is in your willingness to accept it as done. Acceptance is the act of faith that bridges imagination and experience. It is more than just saying the words, it is feeling the truth of your desire in your body, in your emotions, in your silence. When you accept something completely, doubt has no room to breathe. You stop questioning if it will happen and begin living from the awareness that it already has. You walk differently. You think different. You speak with a quiet authority that life cannot ignore. The moment you shift your state of being, the world must conform. It has no choice, because the outer is always a mirror of the inner. When you change your self-concept, when you decide that you are now abundant, loved, healthy, or free, the universe instantly begins to reorganize itself to reflect that truth. New ideas come to mind, unexpected doors open, people appear at just the right moment. These are not coincidences. They are the natural movements of reality aligning with your new assumption. This is why transformation often feels sudden. One day everything seems the same, and the next life unfolds in ways you could never have planned. But in truth, the shift did not happen that day. It happened the moment you accepted it as real. The physical world simply caught up with the spiritual decision you made within yourself. The power to change anything lies not in effort, but in acceptance. The harder you try to make something happen, the more you affirm that it hasn't yet happened. But when you accept your desire as a present fact, the struggle ends. Acceptance is not pretending, it is realizing. It is recognizing that all realities already exist, and by choosing one with conviction, you bring it into view. So stop waiting for signs, timing, or proof. Stop believing that you need more time to become who you already are. The shift happens the moment you accept it. Right now, in this very instant, you have the power to step into a completely different version of yourself. Accept it as true, and watch how quickly life transforms to meet your new state of being. The truth is simple yet profound. Your life changes the moment you do. Every transformation, every breakthrough, every answered prayer begins within you. You are not waiting for the universe to bless you. The universe is waiting for you to believe. When you shift your inner state, when you feel the wish fulfilled, detached from control, prepared with faith, and accept the new reality as already done, the outer world has no choice but to follow. You were never meant to live in limitation or fear. You were meant to create, to expand, to experience the fullness of who you are. The power that shapes worlds is the same power that breathes within you. Trust it. Live from it. Embody it. Your life is about to change forever. Not because something outside of you is arriving, but because something within you is awakening. Be ready to receive it, not by chasing, but by becoming. The future you desire is already yours. All that remains is your acceptance of it. Thank you for listening. Stay faithful, stay open, and remember, the miracle begins the moment you believe it's already done. Imagine for a moment that everything you have ever desired is already complete. The life you dream of is not somewhere in the distant future. It is already moving toward you, quietly, naturally, without struggle. Your dreams are coming together, and the perfect timing is now. The first step is to see your dreams inwardly. Your imagination is not a mere escape. It is the blueprint of your reality. What you hold as true in your mind and heart begins to form in your life. When you dwell in the feeling of your dreams already fulfilled, your outer world will follow. The secret is not in forcing circumstances, but in assuming their reality with unwavering certainty. Understand that time is your ally, not your enemy. Everything unfolds according to a divine rhythm. There is no need to worry about delays or setbacks. Each moment that passes is guiding your dreams closer to manifestation. The unseen is moving even when the senses perceive stillness. Trust in this natural flow. Feel your faith. Do not just think it. True faith is emotional. It is the vivid experience of having what you desire right now. When you feel your dreams as reality in this present moment, you ignite a force that attracts all conditions, people, and opportunities that align with your vision. Doubt dissipates when your heart is immersed in the certainty of fulfillment. Persist calmly, without struggle. The world often tempts you to resist, to fret over how or when, but your inner conviction is stronger than any external obstacle. By quietly persisting in the mental state of success, you allow your desires to crystallize naturally. Struggle is unnecessary because the universe responds to your inner assumption, not your external efforts. Gratitude unlocks the doors. Begin to feel thankful for what is already yours, for the unseen blessings on their way. Gratitude is more than a polite habit. It is a magnetic energy that draws circumstances and people into perfect alignment with your vision. Remember that your power is in the now. The present moment is where creation occurs. By imagining and feeling your dreams as already real, you activate the natural law of manifestation. Your dreams are not just possibilities, they are inevitable. The time is now, and your life is responding. So rise in the knowledge that your dreams are coming together naturally. Live with faith, gratitude, and inner certainty. Step boldly into the reality you have imagined. Your time is not tomorrow, it is now. Everything that manifests in your life begins first as a thought, a feeling, a living assumption within. The world you see around you is not separate from your inner consciousness. It is the reflection of what you consistently hold as true in your mind. If you desire a certain life, a certain success, or a particular relationship, it is not the outside circumstances that need changing first. It is your inner assumption that must be aligned. Your imagination is the most potent force you possess. It is not idle dreaming, it is the workshop of creation. When you assume the feeling of your fulfilled dream now, you plant the seed that life will grow into reality. Consider this. When you meet someone who is naturally confident and successful, you recognize a certain presence about them. It is not merely their actions, it is the state of consciousness they maintain within. Their inner certainty radiates outward, shaping the events, encounters, and circumstances that reflect that inner life. In the same way, you must nurture the feeling of your desired life within yourself. Hold it as real, not as something distant, not as a future possibility, but as your present reality. Close your eyes and imagine yourself living in that reality. Feel the emotions, the satisfaction, the joy, the peace that come with it. Immerse yourself fully in that state. This is not imagination for escape. It is imagination as creation. Your inner vision is like a magnet. The universe, responding to your state, begins to arrange circumstances and people to correspond with what you believe. Doubts, worries, and external appearances are mere illusions that vanish when your inner assumption remains firm. Do not focus on how your dreams will come to pass. Focus on feeling that they already have. The world is nothing but a mirror reflecting your inner life. When you assume the feeling of abundance, love, or success, life rearranges itself accordingly. Opportunities, resources, and connections begin to align naturally, effortlessly, and in perfect timing. Many fail to recognize the power of assumption. They see the world and allow circumstances to dictate their state, reacting to conditions instead of creating them. But you must reverse this process. Begin with the inner state, the vision of what you desire fulfilled, and let the outer world conform to it. Persist in this inner vision with unwavering conviction. Let no contradictory thoughts disturb the feeling you hold. The more real it feels, the more power it carries. Life is not against you, it is shaped by you. Your imagination is the architect, and your inner vision the blueprint. By holding the feeling of your fulfilled dream now, you are not merely hoping for a better future, you are actively creating it. Your inner vision is the seed, and life is the soil in which it grows. Tend it, nurture it, live in it daily, and watch as the world around you transforms to mirror the reality you assume. Everything you desire is already responding. All that is required is your unwavering belief and the feeling of fulfillment in the present moment. Time is not your enemy, it is your most faithful ally. Many believe that to achieve their dreams, they must hurry, struggle, and force outcomes into existence. But the truth is far simpler and far more profound. Everything you desire is already in motion, moving toward you in perfect order and timing. Your task is not to chase or wrestle with the unfolding of events, but to align your awareness with the rhythm of life itself. When you understand this, you realize that the universe does not operate on your schedule. It operates on the perfect schedule for the manifestation of your desires. Patience is not passive waiting, it is active alignment. To be patient does not mean to sit idly by. It means to maintain the inner state of your fulfilled dream while trusting the unseen process. There is no need to fret over how or when. When you release the illusion of urgency and surrender to the natural flow of life, you allow circumstances to arrange themselves in ways far beyond your imagination. Inspired Karan, your Sanjay's sister, the unseen is always working, even when your senses perceive stillness. Trust that every step, every coincidence, every encounter is moving you closer to what you have assumed as real. Consider this. Just as a seed planted in the earth does not sprout instantly, Your dreams require their own perfect unfolding. The seed already contains everything it needs to become a tree. It only requires time to grow according to its inherent nature. You too are a seed of your own vision. The time it takes for your dream to appear in the physical world is not a denial, but a preparation. During this time, the universe is shaping the circumstances, the people, and the events that will bring your vision to life. Your awareness of this truth ensures that you do not resist or doubt, but remain in a state of calm expectation. Rushing, forcing, or worrying disrupts the natural harmony. It places your attention on lack and limitation rather than on the fulfillment already in motion. Instead, live in the awareness that your desires are coming. Feel them, believe them, and let that inner conviction guide your thoughts, words, and actions. By doing so, you become a co-creator, not through effort, but through alignment with the natural flow of life. Time works in your favor because it allows your vision to mature, to attract all necessary conditions, and to appear fully formed. There is a perfect season for everything, and your inner state determines how smoothly and effortlessly your dreams manifest when that season arrives. When you recognize that time is your ally, you no longer struggle with impatience or fear. You are free to focus entirely on the reality you wish to experience now, trusting that life is orchestrating every detail for your ultimate good. Do not measure life by the clock or the calendar. Measure it by your inner awareness, by the certainty of your fulfilled desire, and by the peace you maintain while it unfolds. Your dreams are already moving toward you. Your awareness is the key that unlocks their arrival. Trust the timing and allow your life to flow naturally into the reality you have imagined. Faith is not a mere intellectual belief. It is a living, breathing experience within your consciousness. To truly manifest your dreams, you must move beyond thinking about them and step fully into the feeling of having them. Your outer reality is a reflection of your inner state, and it is the emotion you carry, the vivid, tangible experience of your fulfilled desire, that calls it into existence. When you live as though your dreams are already happening, you align every part of your being with the reality you wish to see, and the world begins to respond accordingly. Consider the power of emotion. Thoughts alone are not enough to create life. They must be married with feeling. When you imagine, do not merely picture the scene, feel it. Hear the sounds, notice the textures, smell the scents, and immerse yourself in the totality of that experience. Allow your heart to rejoice in the reality you are creating. The moment you feel the satisfaction, the gratitude, and the joy of your fulfilled dream, you are sending a vibration into the unseen that draws all corresponding circumstances to you. The universe cannot distinguish between imagination and reality when the feeling is fully present. It responds to the emotional state, not the logical reasoning of the mind. Faith through feeling is not passive. It is an active, creative force. It requires that you live from the end, from the perspective of fulfillment. Act as if what you desire has already arrived. Speak, think, and move from that inner conviction. Your outer world will begin to shift to match your inner reality. Doors that once seemed closed will open effortlessly. People and opportunities will appear in perfect alignment with your vision. Life has a way of bending toward the consciousness it encounters most consistently and powerfully. Many fail because they separate faith from feeling. They say they believe in their dreams, but their hearts are filled with doubt, anxiety, or longing. Faith without feeling is an empty vessel. It is the intensity of your inner experience, the certainty, the delight, the emotional immersion that brings creation to life. When you feel your dreams as real now, you bypass the limitations of time and circumstance. You are no longer waiting for the world to validate your desires. You are generating the reality from within. You may encounter moments when the outer world seems contrary to your vision. Do not be discouraged. The senses report only the present appearance. They cannot reflect the unseen truth of your imagination. Hold fast to the feeling of your fulfilled dream and persist with unwavering emotion. By maintaining the inner state, you continue to attract all conditions necessary for its manifestation. The outer world must eventually conform to the inner reality that you steadfastly feel. Faith through feeling transforms life because it places creation in your hands. You are no longer a passive observer, but an active participant, shaping your destiny with the power of your consciousness. Live each moment as though your dreams are already present. Let your joy, excitement, and gratitude flow freely. When emotion leads, manifestation follows. The universe responds naturally, effortlessly, and perfectly. Persistence is not measured by effort, struggle, or constant action. It is measured by the steadfastness of your inner state. To manifest your desires, you must dwell continuously in the mental state of fulfillment, without being swayed by appearances or doubts. True persistence is quiet, confident, and unwavering. It is the calm assurance that what you have imagined and assumed as real is already yours. This inner conviction acts like a magnet, drawing all necessary circumstances, people, and opportunities into alignment with your vision. Many believe that persistence requires relentless external activity, that they must constantly push, strive, or fight to make their dreams come true. But the outer world is not the source of creation. The inner state is. When you maintain the mental state of already having achieved your desire, your consciousness impresses itself upon the unseen, and life begins to reflect it naturally. There is no struggle involved, because the world responds automatically to your state of being. The harder you force the external, the more you betray a lack of inner conviction. True persistence is not in the doing, it is in the being. Dwell in the feeling of fulfillment as if it is present now. Imagine the joy, the satisfaction, and the ease that come from possessing your desire. Live within that inner reality every day, in every thought, word, and action. Do not allow contradictory evidence from the senses to shake you. The senses report only the current outer appearance, but they do not determine what is inevitable. The unseen is working in perfect harmony with your assumed state, arranging conditions behind the scenes. Your persistence lies in your refusal to give attention to doubt, fear, or worry. Persistence without struggle requires trust in the natural law that governs manifestation. By holding your mental state steady, you become a living beacon for the reality you have imagined. People, circumstances, and opportunities are drawn to you because your inner conviction radiates irresistibly. The universe conspires quietly in your favor, arranging everything so that your vision must manifest. There is no need to fight time, resist challenges, or manipulate outcomes. All that is necessary is to remain unwavering in your inner reality. Every great achievement begins with this quiet persistence. The individual who assumes the reality of their desire, who refuses to be moved by temporary appearances, is the one whose dreams come to pass. Obstacles may appear, delays may occur, but these are only tests of your inner conviction. Continue to dwell in the mental state of fulfillment, and life itself will realign until your imagination is fully expressed in the physical world. Struggle is the enemy of manifestation. Effort without alignment creates friction, while persistent inner conviction creates effortless attraction. By maintaining the feeling of your fulfilled desire, you allow life to flow naturally toward its inevitable realization. The world responds not to your actions, but to the state of consciousness you occupy. Persist in that state without struggle, without worry, and without doubt, and your dreams will come to you with perfect ease and timing. Gratitude is not merely a polite acknowledgement of what you already have. It is a powerful force that shapes the reality yet to be experienced. When you feel thankful in advance for the fulfillment of your desires, you align yourself with the natural flow of life and open the doors for unseen opportunities to enter effortlessly. Gratitude is the bridge between the present moment and the reality you imagine. It is the recognition that the universe is already working in your favor, and in acknowledging this, you invite its abundant expression into your life. Imagine for a moment that you are already living your dreams. What would it feel like? What emotions would naturally arise within you? The joy, the relief, the satisfaction, the wonder. These are the feelings of gratitude. By dwelling in these feelings now, before your desire has fully manifested, you are signaling to the universe that you are ready to receive. This is the key. Gratitude is a state of readiness. It prepares you, aligns you, and magnetizes the circumstances necessary for your dreams to appear. Many overlook this simple yet profound truth. They wait to feel grateful until after their goals are achieved, believing that appreciation must follow accomplishment. But true manifestation works in reverse. When you express gratitude in advance, life responds by bringing the objects, people, and opportunities that correspond to your inner state. Gratitude is not dependent on the outer world. It is an inner declaration of trust and certainty. When you feel it sincerely, it becomes a beacon, attracting everything you have imagined. Gratitude also dissolves resistance. Worry, doubt, and fear fade when your heart is filled with thanks for what is coming. These emotions create friction that slows or obstructs the natural flow of manifestation. But gratitude acts like oil on machinery. It smooths, it harmonizes, and it allows life to move effortlessly toward your intended reality. By feeling grateful, you acknowledge that everything is already working for your good, even if you cannot yet see the complete picture. Practicing gratitude in advance does not mean ignoring reality. It means choosing to dwell in the reality you wish to create rather than reacting to temporary appearances. Each day, take a moment to mentally and emotionally affirm the blessings that are on their way. Give thanks for the unseen mechanisms that are arranging your circumstances. Feel the joy, the abundance, and the fulfillment as though they are present now. This is the essence of creative living. You do not wait for life to provide. You live as if it already has. And in doing so, you invite the universe to complete the picture. Gratitude is a gateway because it opens your consciousness to receive. The more you cultivate it, the more effortlessly life responds. Opportunities appear, coincidences align, and people are drawn into your sphere, all guided by the inner state you maintain. By choosing to be thankful now, before the fulfillment arrives, You set in motion the natural law of attraction and create a seamless path for your desires to manifest. The moment you begin this practice, you recognize that abundance is not something distant or delayed. It is already flowing toward you, and your grateful heart is the key that unlocks its arrival. The present moment is far more than a point in time. It is the canvas upon which your entire reality is painted. All creation begins in the now, and all manifestation is born from the conscious use of this moment. Too often, people look to the future or dwell in the past, believing that change and fulfillment exist elsewhere. Yet the power to shape your life is available to you at this very instant. By feeling and imagining your dreams as already accomplished, you are engaging directly with the creative force of the universe, allowing it to work in perfect harmony with your inner state. Creation does not wait for external circumstances to align. The universe responds immediately to the state of consciousness you occupy. When you dwell fully in the present, fully immersed in the feelings of your fulfilled desire, you are speaking directly to the unseen, telling it that this is real, this is now. Your imagination is the instrument, and the present moment is its stage. Every thought, every feeling, every vivid mental image carries a magnetic power that calls the corresponding outer conditions into being. To ignore the power of now is to leave your dreams suspended in delay. Consider this. A painter does not wait for the canvas to create itself. The artist begins with a single stroke, applied consciously and with intent. So too must you approach the present moment. Each feeling of joy, each assumption of abundance, each visualization of your fulfilled desire is a deliberate stroke on the canvas of reality. When you commit yourself fully to the now, you are not simply wishing or hoping, you are acting from the perspective of fulfillment. You are already living the life you imagine, and the universe must respond to this inner fact. Many fail to recognize the creative potential of the present because they are preoccupied with when or how. They postpone joy, waiting for conditions to prove favorable, or they question the timing of their desires. But the secret of manifestation is that the power is never in the future, it is in this moment. By assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled now, you bypass the need for proof and step directly into the realm where creation occurs. The universe cannot resist the clarity and intensity of a mind fully aligned with the reality it desires. The present is also a place of freedom. In the now, you are not bound by past failures, regrets, or limitations. You can recreate yourself and your world moment by moment. By feeling, imagining, and accepting your desires as real in the present, you release the tension of waiting, the anxiety of uncertainty, and the distractions of doubt. You allow life to move naturally toward the fulfillment of your dreams, guided by the unwavering state of consciousness you maintain. Every act of imagination in the present moment sets the law of cause and effect into motion. When you visualize, feel, and live from the end, the unseen world immediately responds. Your now is not ordinary. It is the point of creation, the fulcrum upon which the universe balances to bring your dreams into manifestation. Embrace it fully, dwell in it, and feel the joy of your desires as if they are already yours. The present is your power, and in it, everything is possible. As we draw this journey to a close, remember this. Your dreams are not distant fantasies. They are already in motion. Every thought, every feeling, every moment of inner conviction is shaping your reality. By holding the vision of your fulfilled desires, by trusting in perfect timing, by living with faith, persistence, and gratitude, you align yourself with the natural flow of life. The present moment, the now, is your canvas. It is here that creation occurs, here that your dreams take shape, and here that your life transforms into the reality you have imagined. Do not wait for tomorrow. Do not rely on circumstances outside of you, and do not allow doubt to cloud your vision. Live as though your dreams are already happening. Feel them, rejoice in them, and know with certainty that the universe is conspiring in your favor. Every step you take from this moment forward is guided by the inner state you choose to maintain. Your time is now, and your life is responding. Step boldly into this truth. Embrace the power of your imagination, the certainty of your inner conviction, and the joy of gratitude. The world around you will reflect what you hold within. Everything you desire is already finding its way to you, effortlessly and naturally. All that remains is for you to accept it, to live it, and to allow it. Thank you for opening your mind and heart today. Thank you for choosing to see the power that lies within you. And thank you for stepping into the reality that you are capable of creating. Your dreams are coming together, and your time is truly now.